What up, everybody? Welcome to the Enough Said podcast. We are in season 5. Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome to the Enough Said podcast. We are in season 5. Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome to the Enough Said podcast. We are in season 5. Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome to the Enough Said podcast. We are in season 5. Believe it or not, guys, week number 2. We apologize, everyone, for hanging in there with us this morning. There were some internet outages in the area, so we had to make sure we got them all taken care of. Now that that's all good, Jermaine's actually in the area.
You didn't pay the bill. All three of y'all didn't pay the bill. That's why y'all.
My internet was fine.
Y'all pulled out your credit card to pay the bill. Now all of a sudden, miraculously, all of y'all are on. Hey,
I got files.
I didn't have a problem. I didn't have a problem.
Man, Mike, get rid of that background, please, before I throw up. All right?
You know what? Oh, I got you.
All right, let's get it on. Let's introduce everybody. Welcome to the show. As always, if you haven't joined us before, we are a podcast talking about football from a fan's perspective, basically. And we have every week at 11 o'clock. You can follow us, obviously, on Enough Said, on Twitter, whatever, X, whatever you want to call it. And it's also online. And you can email us at enoughsaidcrew@gmail.com as well. So we welcome everybody this morning, including Hef. Welcome aboard. All right, we are ready to go. Let's introduce the crew. The first one, he's sitting outside. He's actually in the area for once. The man set us up and gave us the shaft. Yeah, Jermaine, I'm talking about that 15-second draft. What the hell, dude? That draft was done in 10 minutes, man.
That was hilarious.
That was. I looked up. It's 8:12. Yeah, that's got to be the quickest draft. You know what I mean?
Holy
so next year we'll do 10.
Oh, dude, I didn't even know literally who I was picking. I was just like, all right, whatever. I'm just like hitting a button. I didn't even know what the hell I was doing.
I had no plan. I was just like, do I take a quarterback? Do I take a receiver? Who do I take?
Yeah, it was me and Jermaine's mastermind. I said, Jermaine, let's look at the timer. You know what? I said, do it.
Do
it. Throw a monkey wrench in there because this is a fun bragging right. So let's just mix it all up. See,
it
was funny.
KD was like, wait a minute, this is 15 seconds. He said by the time I got on, it was giving you the warning, the warning signal. You know what I mean? You gotta pick.
Yeah, you're right, Hef. Jermaine does look like he's outside getting in touch with his universe here. Yeah, check that out, man. So it is gorgeous here in Philadelphia right now. We're talking like 70 degrees, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Not a cloud in the sky. It's beautiful. Yep.
Yeah. All right, this second guy, he's got that stupid helmet in the background. On the show, when he talks about the 49ers, we all mock because of it. He might just trade shows and go to his favorite network, Peacock. So Mike had some issues with Peacock. He was going off this week. Tell us, what do you got your issues with Peacock, Mike?
No, I just don't like the idea that there's another streaming service that you got to use to watch NFL games.
I agree.
I think it's, I think it's ridiculous. Especially when it's like, Peacock is a known service, but it's not like Amazon where everyone has access to Amazon. I just don't like it. I mean, the game itself was all right. I mean, I thought there weren't going to be commercials, but it was like watching regular TV because there was tons of commercials, at least the version that I was watching. I mean, the stream was all right, but it just, put it on regular TV, man. Come on. I mean, we're not totally disconnected from the box, I'll say.
Yeah. Well, it's funny when I got this laptop, I get 3 free months of Apple TV, and I think that includes Peacock, but I got to check. But yeah, like you said, man, we're paying for so much stuff. Like, give us a break, I mean,
it's amazing. It's amazing that, the game wasn't even locally televised. You know what I mean? Even the Philly fans, you needed, Philly fans that are in the Jersey, Philadelphia area, you still needed the damn app. I said, that's crazy.
I didn't know that. I thought they were going to put it on.
No, they opened up the stadium for everybody whoever I don't get the tickets or whatever, but the stadium was totally filled Friday night. Man. And they watched it on the teleprompt.
Yeah, that's nuts. I didn't know it didn't come on regular TV up there.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, that's the thing. Because that's what
terrible.
we was looking at. Yeah. You don't have Peacock. If you don't have Peacock, you're screwed. That's it.
And one of the other thing I don't like about it is just like when you're watching it, there's replay for Peacock, but when it's a live thing like that, they wait for a while to reset. So I had to start watching it from the second half. I mean from the end of the first half, the second. I have rewinded it, but it won't let me go all the way back to the first quarter. I was like, darn
it. Yeah. Yeah, that's what the most interesting stuff was happening in the first quarter.
Yeah.
I saw the second quarter.
I'm sure we will get to that shortly.
Yeah, I was out with my friends and I saw some of that and I was like, that's another story. We went to media and watched the game, but all right, this last guy on his fantasy team, he has Jamar Chase, but if he doesn't play today, Dre, you're not going no place. Come on, man. He might not play. He's like 50-50.
Yeah, man. We'll see how it goes. I mean,
keep an eye on him. Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm only up by like half a point on iBoogers. You know who that is.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see.
All I know is I had Reed on my bench and he got 39 points. So Hef's probably going to kick my ass today.
Well, I put Rice. I put Rice in the slot and I had Mahomes. So.
Yeah,
that helped me out.
So
Sal, real quick, because I knew you was going to get us with the intros and everything, so I figured I'd get something for you. Help you get the season started right. So I found this for you.
All right,
if you could read
back it up a little bit.
Can't see it. Read it. What does it
say? It says nail gel.
Oh yes. I like it.
That's funny. That's a good one.
I love it. That's awesome.
That's a good one.
Oh man. Hey man, you know what? The Bears play today, so we'll see if he's wearing it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jermaine, we got to talk about him. A first overall pick with nail gel. Come on, man. Nail polish.
There's nothing to talk about. We already talked about it. Let's just move on. I mean, that's just, really. He just might have a clear coat on. He might have a clear coat on today. So.
All right. Here we go. All right. So we had two games so far. We had the Ravens, and of course we had the Eagles. So let's talk about the Eagles. Let's get it out. Jermaine, happy with Jalen Hurts? All was good last year.
Yeah, you know what? I looked at the game again, last night, because we was in Atlantic City and everything. So I was looking at it again, and then I just happened to remember what was going on with the first game of last year. So I look at it, you have that old saying, is the glass half empty or half full, So I'm looking at it as far as it being half full. And the reason why I say that is that if you compare the two games from New England from last year to this year, I mean, you only punted once, and the mistakes that he had, I mean, throwing across his shoulder and whatnot. So I'm fine because it's game one and you didn't have no time as far as preseason and stuff is concerned, So I'm going to give Jalen, another pass, to see what happens because it's game one. Get all the jittery and get all the nonsense and all the foolishness out and whatnot. They put up 30, barely have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these. You know what I mean? And that's just what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these, you know what I mean? And that's just what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these, you know what I mean? And that's just what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these, you know what I mean? And that's just what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these, you know what I mean? And that's just what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these weapons, you know what I mean? And that's just what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these weapons, you know what I mean? And that's just what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these weapons, you know what I mean? And that's just what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these weapons. know what I mean? And that's just what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these weapons, you know what I mean? And that's just what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these weapons, you know what I mean? And that's just what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these weapons, I mean, and that's just what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these weapons, I mean, and that's just what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these weapons, and that's just what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these weapons and everything, and that's just what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these weapons and everything, and that's just what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these weapons and everything, and that's just what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these weapons and everything, and that's just what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these weapons and everything, that's just what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these weapons and everything, that's just what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these weapons and everything, that's just what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these weapons and everything, that's just what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these weapons and everything, that's what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these weapons and everything, that's what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these weapons and everything, you got that's what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these weapons and everything, you got that's what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these weapons and everything, you got that's what I'm doing, and it don't necessarily have to be on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now you got all these weapons and everything, you got Saquan, the X Factor. So that's why I said I'm not giving him a pass, So I mean, it was an okay game, I mean, you got another offensive coordinator and stuff. So yeah, I'm trying to see this thing. I think it's nothing but going up. I mean, compared to last year, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I piggybacked off the same thing, Jermaine. I looked at New England versus Philly, and believe it or not, we won by 5 last year too. So it's the same in the scoring. But however, Jalen Hurts did do more yardage from the opening of the game against Detroit. He did throw another 2 picks this past Friday than what he did there. But forget all we can compare that. But overall, for me, when I was watching it, the coordinator Kellen and Fangio, and I think the defense, because I liked how the motors were going for both sides, offensive and defensively. Jordan looked like he was plugging the hole. Carter was doing his thing, Sweat. But on the offensive side, Dallas Goedert was pretty big too, bailing out, Jalen, which I saw. And of course, Saquon was doing his thing, but I remember DeAndre Swift didn't really carry the ball that much the first opening game against the Vikings. That was his first 100-yard rushing game. So overall, I think Philadelphia did good. I'm glad, of course, we're glad they got the win. But to but to comment on you, Sal, Jalen still, he's still figuring it out. It's still, I guess, early. We'll see when it gets, at least 5 games into the season, then we can say he has actually regressed from 2 years ago,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, I got a comment, but before I do, I just happened to look at my phone, and this is breaking news. Dakota, Dak Prescott is now the highest paid player in the NFL history. A $240 million 4-year contract.
Wow.
Man.
Jerry paid him.
Look, you don't want me to get
Jerry
on.
paid him.
Come on, Dre. Don't hold back.
Wow.
I don't listen, man. I don't want to. Me and Jermaine will be arguing. I'm telling you, man, this is bullshit money, monopoly money they give it to these damn players. I don't care about what you. Well, what are you gonna do? You can't. You got to pay him. I get that. But you're paying a guy that can't even freaking win the. I mean, okay, take it back. What's Kirk Cousins is getting paid? He ain't done nothing. So
I'm telling you,
that's why I named my $100 million quarterback rushers on my fantasy team name. Dak, okay, great.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's a sign of the state of the NFL, and that's just a quarterback-driven league. And that when you have a quarterback that just, that's why I was kind of going on. I was going off on the text messages a little bit about Jalen, but you gotta look at what else you got out there, man. And I mean, Mahomes is kind of like on a level to himself, and everybody else is kind of in that same boat. So it's like you want to trash and get rid of Jalen and stuff, but then who are you going to get to go in the spot?
Well, here's the thing. He's got in the last 17. His pass to interception ratio is 17-15. That's terrible. That doesn't even include the fumbles he had. Come on, and stop, KD. 3 coordinators. Come on, you're an NFL player. You've been playing football your whole life.
No, man. No, KD's right. KD's right, man. If you could look, that's just like at work, Sal. If you got 3 different bosses every year that you got to answer to. Now you got to adapt, and now you got to understand how they doing. You just can't say, "Oh, roll right now." Oh, I got a new manager. You know what I mean? And then another year later, 6 months later, I got a new manager. No, you can't. No,
I'm not buying it.
You got to.
That's exactly it.
You got to adapt, man. You got to adapt. You know what I mean?
I'm not buying it.
3 coordinators, and a lot of times, the same thing can happen in college, right? Same thing happen in college.
And a lot of times, what happens when you have a new system? You start reverting back to some of the things that you've done in the past because you're still trying to figure out the new system, and I think you saw that a little bit in the game a little bit where it's like, okay, we just kind of making up a little bit. They haven't practiced. They practiced, but they haven't played any preseason whatsoever. I don't understand why they didn't do that. So it's like you got to work out a brand new offense.
Eliminate the preseason. I am so sick of. Why do you keep doing the preseason and nothing's happening? I mean, I understand that you got the rookies and you want to evaluate them, but I mean, as far as the starters, I mean, this whole week 1 is going to be sloppy. I mean, Patrick Mahomes was sloppy. If you think about it, he was sloppy. I mean, Lamar Jackson was sloppy. It's game 1. Nobody didn't play anything. You know what I mean? You got training camp. It's the only thing that you can settle on. I break my seasons down as 4 quarters. So you just give it the 4 weeks and see what happens. You can really evaluate, Sal, because you could actually compare it to last year. You know what I mean? So that's the way I look at it. So
I don't know. I'm not buying the excuses. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not doing it. I've seen it too many times with them. And here's the other thing that concerns me about Jalen. It's the leadership. All right. Nobody is listening to him. Do you think AJ Brown is listening to him? You've seen them interact. AJ Brown's not listening to Jalen. Do you think that, Devontae Smith, he was the captain. He's not listening to Jalen. You want to know why the Eagles won the Super Bowl? Because they rallied around Nick Foles more than they rallied around what was his name? Carson Wentz. That's why. It's leadership. He doesn't have that either. He doesn't have those intangibles. I'm not buying it. I guarantee you my prediction is by the end of the year, we're going to be stuck with this guy because Howie's not going to want to admit that he's wrong. And we're going to be stuck with this guy for a few years, and he's going to be Donovan McNabb part 2. And I'm not going through that again.
I was waiting for you to
blame Howie. Through that.
Obviously, that took how long did it take get into the segment for him to blame Howie? I was like, dang, he ain't blaming Howie. He's blaming Jalen. So, I mean, how old is Jalen? How old is he?
I mean,
Jalen, I mean, the experience and everything, you still got to understand he's still a young guy. You know what I mean? You're placing the onus and everything and pressure. That's just a lot of pressure.
It's been 4 years. 4 years.
But how old is he?
I don't care. He's played 4 years.
Okay.
What do you want to see him do better?
Like I said, I want to see a progression. I want to see the turnovers stop. That's number 1. I want to see him stop forcing ball. I just want to see a progression of getting better. I want to see a complete game. When is the last time he's played a complete game?
Before he got paid the $500 billion. He seemed like he's one of those players. Once I got paid, I'm gonna show you what I can do. Oh, great, we'll pay you $500 million. Okay, great, got my money now. And all this high, he got up there, high draft pick and stuff, and he's all this high, he got up there, high draft pick and stuff, and he's hard. And all this high, he got up there, high draft pick and stuff, and he's hard. And all this high, he got up there, high draft pick and stuff, and he's hard. And all this high, he got up there, high draft pick and stuff, and he's hard. And all this high, he got up there, high draft pick and stuff, and he's horrible. And all this high, he got up there, high draft pick and stuff, and he's horrible. And all this high, he got up there, high draft pick and stuff, and he's horrible. He's horrible. So
Thank you, Hef. Yeah.
How many chances you gonna give Trevor Lawrence? To me, he should be out. Honestly, he can't perform.
Yeah, so, Trevor Lawrence. I agree.
I mentioned this in our thing about Jalen. Is Jalen a coachable quarterback, or does he have instinct and learn how to adjust? We have to see that. That's all I'm saying.
How do you know? Is he coachable? I mean, Jesus, ever since he's been in the league or ever since he's been in college, he has an offensive coordinator every other year. You know what I mean? So how do you even adapt to stuff like that? That's why I say I go back to the manager. You know what I mean? At work. I mean, you just can't, just fit right in. You got to understand what he's doing. He's got to understand you. You know what I mean? It's got to be, it's got to gel and whatnot. It's going to take a minute. But I don't, like I said, I'm okay. I mean, I know Sal has his it's going to be a long season. Sal, it's going to be a long season, especially if Jalen's spotty. You know what I mean?
No, KD, I don't want perfection. KD's not listening. I don't want perfection, KD. That's not what I want. I want progression. And I agree with Hep. I think he's hit his ceiling. Is this really what Jalen is? I don't know. Probably.
And that's how I feel too. I mean, I'm on his side as well. Like that 2000, Super Bowl run we did, Jalen, where is he? That's all. I want him.
Oh, he left when Shane Steichen left. I mean, one thing you got
coachable quarterback then.
He's great. I mean, last year you had, turmoil with Nick Sirianni and Brian Johnson, as you finding out. So there was no consistency. So now you're starting all over again, with Kellen Moore. So, we don't know if he's not coachable. You almost have to really, like you said, Jermaine, you really have to see this 4 or 6 weeks in the season and see if there's improvement with, his decision-making. I still think you're going to have some interceptions, but, I think it's the nature of the league that we have a lot more passing. There's a lot more probability of those interceptions. But, if you just see it look like he's in control of the offense, he's able to start reading the defense, make the adjustments before the plays, things that he really couldn't do last season because of the way the offense was constructed. I think he'll be fine. I mean, you guys talk about him like he's not that good. I mean, I think he's really a good quarterback. I mean, I think he still may have a little bit of that Dak Prescott in him that, his ceiling is high and you want him to go higher, and he may not go higher than that, but I think it's high enough that you can win a championship with him, especially if you got Saquon Barkley and especially if that defense can get better. I mean, it's a team sport, so I don't think the sky is falling with him. I don't.
I agree. I mean, that's the thing, like I said last year, to when it ended last year, I said, I'll give Howie, your boy Howie, Sal, and I'm giving Jalen this one more year. I figure you just let this squash, and they seem like they got the people in the right place. Let Sirianni be that puppet coach, the rah-rah coach, and let the coordinators do what they have to do. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So if this year is another flop like it was last year, I'm on board with you and Dre. I just I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? You done paid this man, and he done threw a flop and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And Howie, screwed that up as far. If they regress this year, I mean, we got major problems. But I don't see that because, like I said, they put up 34 points and only punted once. And just like what Mike said, this is Jalen's not the one. Jalen's not a one-man team. I mean, it's a team effort. You know what I mean? So you look at this whole to put up 34 points and for them to drive the ball up and down and whatnot. I like it. And I think that, like I said, the cup is half full. It's not half empty.
Well, let Mike take Jalen then in San Francisco. He can have him. All right. Speaking of Jalen, let's talk about our Stacey Abrams, Jermaine. What is going on with Jalen Carter? What the heck? Where was the pass rush?
Mike, is it the 3-4 defense? I mean, look, man, it's in the secondary. I mean, I don't know, man. I was kind of because just like we was driving the ball, they was driving the ball down the field. I mean, people wide open, you know what I mean, and missed tackles, and you getting juked out of your shoes and all that. That's like, what is going on? And then no pressure. You only had one sack, no pressure. Mike, no
Yeah,
pressure.
it's a new defense, and I know that defense, Vic Fangio style defense, pressure is manufactured different ways in which you're used to seeing. There's not a lot of blitzing and things like that, so you really do, require, coverage, and you require, your front four, your front three guys. Usually, it's three guys on linebacker to eventually get there. No, they're concerns. I thought the one bright spot was Zahn, the linebacker. Bond. Zach Bond. Yeah, that was a good thing to see, because last year linebacker was like your Achilles heel, and that middle of the field was just killing you with tight ends and slot receivers. So to see that was a positive. But that secondary, I think, especially with CJ as safety back there in the corners,
CJ got juiced.
Like you said, you're going to need that pressure to help those corners. If you don't have the pressure there and you give guys time, like, to me, the biggest thing I saw was that Jordan Love, doesn't run. If he was a scrambling quarterback or had the ability to just be a little bit more mobile than what he was, it could have been a bad day. But because he's a little bit of a statue, you had, some abilities to stop him, but it is going to be tougher against some of the more mobile quarterbacks until they can start generating some pressure.
Yeah. All right. Well, the Eagles defense, Dre, let's get you in here. Impressed? Like, we got some new, I don't know. I just feel like it's the same old again with this defense, but I don't know.
It's game one. Rusty probably, a lot of no preseason.
But Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter,
Jordan did show up when the first I saw that plug the middle, and I was like, there we go.
That was one.
That was one. But
the defense held, like you said, Dre. You're right.
They held
them to 6 points. You know what I mean? For 2 field goals.
But Maddox though in the secondary, like he's about to be the new burnt toast. but I think it's too early. I just think we'll see how it plays. I mean, we are playing.
I hope so.
We're playing a weak divisions coming up. Weak, teams: Falcons, Saints, Bucs. We'll see how the Eagles defense.
I hope you're right, Dre, because what I saw, they was just getting shellacked. You know what I mean? Especially in that second year, and you're not getting any pressure. I hope you're right with that. You know what I mean, with that defense. What I saw, that was wild.
Yeah.
I mean, people were wide open, and then the yards after the catch, like, Jesus, Jalen Reed, he still could have been running. You know what I mean? It's like, come on.
Yeah, he could be still running.
Yeah.
I thought they did good stopping the run. I thought Josh Jacobs, who looked kind of like not the same Josh Jacobs, but still, I thought I thought it was pretty impressive that they were able to hold him in check. I mean, the fourth quarter he got a little bit loose, but for the most part they held it down on the run defense. It really is just the pass attack, and I think the Packers kind of wanted to take advantage of that, because I kept complaining. I was like, man, they're not running the ball, they're going to lose. You can't just keep passing all the time. Mistakes are going to happen. You keep passing. Eventually Jordan Love did throw an interception. So I don't know. They got to improve the secondary. That's my thing with the Eagles defense. I think the secondary has to get better, where the pass rush has to, put more pressure on quarterbacks. Otherwise, you're going to see shootouts, and you're going to have to score more than them basically all the time.
I really do like Reed Blankenship. I mean, but he's just not a starting safety to me. He would be one of the best backup safeties in the league, but to me, he just doesn't. I don't know. They need to do.
Lamar makes some great plays. I mean, he is one that's been hit. Lamar makes some great plays. I mean, he is one that's been hit. Lamar makes some great plays. I mean, he is a point that's been hit. Lamar makes some great plays. I mean, he is a point that's been hit. Lamar makes some great plays. I mean, he is a play that's been hit. Lamar makes some great plays. I mean, he is a play that's been hit. Lamar makes some great plays. I mean, he is a play that's been hit. Lamar makes some great plays. I mean, he is a playmaker that's been hit. Lamar makes some great plays. I mean, he is a playmaker that's been hit. Lamar makes some great plays. I mean, he is a playmaker that's been hit. Lamar makes some great plays. I mean, he is a playmaker that's been hit. Lamar makes some great plays. I mean, he is a playmaker that's been hit. Lamar makes some great plays. I mean, he is a playmaker that's been hit. Lamar makes some great plays. I mean, he is a playmaker, been hit. Lamar makes some great plays. I mean, he is a playmaker, been hit. Lamar makes some great plays. I mean, he is a playmaker, been hit. Lamar makes some great plays. I mean, he is a playmaker, but hit. Lamar makes some great plays. I mean, he is a playmaker, but hit. Lamar makes some great plays. I mean, he is a playmaker, but he has his tendencies. I still think the play calling is not doing him any favors. Derrick Henry had 13 carries in the game, and 8 of those came in the first half. It's like, how do you abandon the run? You paid this guy. I mean, he was trucking people, and then you just get away from it. And I don't understand that. So I think the play calling, almost similar to Hurts, I think, to a degree. I think you have to play to the strengths of your players. And sometimes I think the guys just want to say, oh, you're a quarterback and you pay all this money, you need to throw the ball all the time because you got to just beat Mahomes. It's like, no, call the plays that work for your players. And I don't think they did that. I think on that last drive, the thing that kind of got me with Lamar was just the other stuff, like the time management. Like, he had a long play where they got the ball down the field, and I swear it was about 45 seconds. I mean, it seemed like it was 45 seconds that ran off the clock before they finally got the next play in. And then there was a play after that where Lamar's sitting there, and then he's running around, and it's like, okay, you're being a playmaker, you're scrambling, but time is ticking. If someone's open right away, throw the ball away. So you have more opportunities, but it just seemed like that game management side of things wasn't there, and that was a big disappointment with him towards the end of that game. I mean, it was too bad. Likely didn't get his foot down, but that kind of shouldn't have came to that.
His toe,
yeah,
not the foot,
but
his toe.
He could have shaved that toenail. That's why what had happened. He should have.
They asked him about it, and he just said, I still think it's a touchdown.
You know what, man? That was impressive because he got hurt the 2 plays before. Remember, he had to sit out 1 play. And he was trying to go for that one. Then he came right back in and caught it. I think they got a tight end. Was it a tight end? Was it tight? Yeah, is he tight end, right?
Isaiah
tight end. Him and Mark Andrews, I don't know, man. They might be. But again, back to Jalen. I mean, I'm sorry, not Jalen, but back to Lamar. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, the big concern was that Lamar had like over 100 yards rushing, and then when I watched that game, I saw him actually taking shots. Like, it wasn't just running out of bounds. It was like, oh, I'm going to run into the middle of the field and take a hit. And he cannot do that. They got to figure out how to take the load off of him and use Derrick Henry or whoever, and not have him be the leading rusher on the team. That will be a recipe for disaster by week 6.
Right. You're absorbing those hits. You know what I mean? And you don't trim down and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So now what's going to happen now when you absorb those hits? You coming around the middle and that linebacker coming up and sticking you. You know what I mean? So how is he going to, how's he going to actually overcome that? But I mean, I kind of paid attention to what Dre's saying, because he's not really on board with Lamar to a point. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, and Mike, I agree, Mike. I mean, you just can't. Why did you bring Derrick Henry? You still running him? That's just like with Jalen. I said, abandon the tush push and give it to Saquon. What are y'all doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You had a fumble in that tush push. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I saw that fumble.
You guys saw me texted that. I was like, give it to Saquon at the end when they were down there. At the end, I was just like,
up here pushing
what are you doing?
Like, oh my. You know what? And I believe that's an override. I think that's an override of Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni wants to have the same because that's his play. He's like, no, Kalen, no, we're gonna do this twist push. If they keep doing that, I feel as though it's gonna bite him in the ass. That's all. Jalen gonna get hurt. Watch.
It's gonna bite him in the tushy. This is funny. A lot going back and forth with Hef. So is Hef officially a hater now? That's so funny. I hate the Ravens. Yeah. Talk about KD. Don't want Baltimore in the playoffs. Calling the clown. All right.
I do agree with Hefto about the whole, moral victory stuff that the Ravens were talking. Like, oh yeah, we had them, but it's like, look, man, you guys are like 4-1 or 5-1, but where the Chiefs have owned the Ravens. I mean, there is no, we almost had them. I mean, look,
right.
You guys can't beat them, and you just got to shut up and do it. And until you do it, stop talking. That game, they should have won. Like you said, Lamar had Flowers wide open.
Yeah.
In that one play, and it's like, how do you miss that guy? And it's like, is it miscommunication, or you just couldn't throw the ball right? But that is the difference between Kansas City and Baltimore. Kansas City always finds a way to make the play to win the game. Yep. It's like I always complain about Chris Jones, and that Nick Bosa was the highest paid guy. It's like Chris Jones is always the guy that makes the play when you need it. When he had to fumble Lamar in the game, I was like, God, that guy is always making plays, and that's how the Chiefs are. You hate them, but when you need to win the game, no matter even if it's ugly, it's one or two or three plays that the Chiefs do that the other teams don't do, and that's the difference maker.
Yeah, last I checked, you play to win the game. That was the last time I checked. Isn't that what he said?
Yeah, Kansas City, man. They used Kelsey as a decoy, and Baltimore fell for it. They kept going to the other guy. Rice had a big game.
Worthy. Oh my God.
Worthy.
Yeah.
Here we go.
You get Worthy
because what happened? Smith Shushu, whatever his name is, he dropped the ball. I'm like, here we go.
When you get Brown is iron. Hollywood Brown is iron for comeback in week 2. I mean, Jesus, that's another speedster. I mean, you get that, and then you got Kelsey. I mean, Jesus.
It's going to be
nasty
ugly.
That's a nasty offense.
I think they're using Taylor Swift as a decoy out there. But
Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is starting to call plays. Did you hear that? I said, what? This might be a down season for your boy Travis Kelce.
He was on the tour, right? They showed him on the tour. And I was like, okay, just getting all in his head. Ain't something
it's all in his head.
You're gonna block and you're gonna be a decoy, okay?
Yeah.
So you get it right.
Yeah. I would like to see with the Chiefs, though. Just curious how their defense does. I mean, I think the Ravens played right into their defense's hands, but they are good, especially with Chris Jones. But I'm curious to see if that defense takes a little bit of a step back this year without L'Jarius Sneed, that shutdown corner. I thought the Ravens had opportunities to expose them. They just didn't do it. But I think some more competent. I won't say more competent, but just more.
So I got the Bucs.
All right, Trey.
Gelling and growth and all that stuff with that team. So I got the Bucs.
All right, Trey.
Gelling and growth and all that stuff with that team. So I got the Bucs.
All right, Trey.
Gelling and growth and all that stuff with that team. So I got the Bucs.
All right, Trey.
Gelling and growth and all that stuff with that team. So I got the Bucs.
All right, Trey.
Gelling and growth and all that stuff with that team. So I got the Bucs.
All right, Trey.
Gelling and growth and all that stuff with that team. So I got the Bucs.
All right, Trey.
Gelling and growth and all that stuff with that team. So I got the Bucs.
All right, Trey.
Gelling and growth and all that stuff with that team. So I got the Bucs.
All right, Trey.
Gelling and growth and all that stuff with that team. So I got the Bucs.
All right, Trey.
Gelling and growth and all that stuff with that team. So I got the Bucs.
All right, Trey.
Gelling and growth and all that stuff with that team. So I got the Bucs.
All right, Trey.
Gelling and growth and all that stuff with that team. So I got the Bucs.
All right, Trey.
Gelling and growth and all that stuff with that team. So I got the Bucs.
All right, Trey.
Gelling and growth and all that stuff with that team. So I got the Bucs.
All right, Trey.
Gelling and growth and all that stuff with that team. So I got the Bucs.
All right, Trey.
I'm the opposite. And growth and all that stuff with that team. So I got the Bucs.
All right, Trey.
I'm the opposite. Growth and all that stuff with that team. So I got the Bucs.
All right, Trey.
I'm the opposite. Growth and all that stuff with that team. So I got the Bucs.
All right, Dre.
I'm the opposite.
Growth and all that stuff with that team. So yeah, I got the Bucs.
All right, Dre.
I'm the opposite.
Growth and all that stuff with that team. So yeah, I got the Bucs.
All right, Dre.
I'm the opposite.
Growth and all that stuff with that team. So yeah, I got the Bucs.
All right, Dre.
I'm the opposite.
Growth and all that stuff with that team. So yeah, I got the Bucs.
All right, Dre.
I'm the opposite.
Growth and all that stuff with that team. So yeah, I got the Bucs.
All right, Dre.
I'm the opposite. I'm taking Washington. I think Washington is really stoked for this opener game. I'm not buying into Baker. I'm not buying into Todd Bowles when he kind of does this with his face all the time. He's like the same expression and stuff. Tampa, I really think Washington is going to really. I think Washington is going to beat their pants off. Honestly, they're on the road and they're gonna do it. I'm with Commanders all the way.
Wow.
Man. All right. Well, this was a tough one, but I think if the game were in Washington, it might be a little different. So I have to go with the Bucs. I think it's going to be very close. But I still think Washington just needs a little more time to gel. They got a lot of turnover on that team, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So I hope they win because I don't want to see the Bucs win, but at the same time, I think they're going to pull it out somehow. All right. The next one. Guys, we got to talk about the towel. Cowboys at the towel.
Jesus.
All right, Mike, who you got?
This is a tough one. I guess, man, I got to go with the Cowgirls.
All right.
They got their newly minted quarterback, and CeeDee Lamb, of course, got paid too. So I think both are going to have something that they want to prove. And I just think the towel is just. But, I don't know how to describe the towel, but I just think that team's not going anywhere with the towel. Even with new coordinators, and I know that they got the coordinator who was the coordinator from Buffalo last year, Ken Dorsey, and so they're hoping that is what corrects him and gets him back to his early good Houston days, but not yet. No, it's Dallas.
All right, Jermaine, you going with your Dallas D? Parsons going to bail him out?
No, I don't see Dallas. I mean, you bringing all these people back. I mean, CeeDee Lamb. I mean, he's got it. It's going to take him about 3 or 4 weeks to get into shape. I mean, this is his first 4 weeks. I believe is going to be his preseason. So, I got Cleveland.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I got. I mean, what running game? What running game do they have?
Dallas.
Both teams really.
They got Zeke Elliott, man.
Zeke Elliott. Come on, man.
Zeke is listening.
Then they got old head Dalvin Cook,
starting running back.
Yeah. Then they got old head Dalvin Cook. Come on. I mean, come on. This it's still a complete mess. Although they, Dak is the highest paid now and whatnot. I mean, they're still a mess. I mean, now Micah. Yeah, Micah is going to have a down. Huh?
The Browns still don't have Chubb back, though. I mean, I think I think
Jerome Ford can hold it down. I'd say Jerome Ford can hold it down for a little bit. I just like Cleveland's defense this year. I really do.
Yeah.
I really do.
They were good last year.
Yeah. So, but then is the Towel playing today? Is he playing?
He's supposed to.
Yeah.
If not, it's going to be James Winston coming in.
Oh God.
James can throw some touchdowns.
Junior. Yeah. So I got Cleveland in this game. I mean,
Mike,
it's gonna be tight.
I agree with you, Jermaine. And Mike, I'm surprised though, because you're a defensive-minded guy, man. Myles Garrett, come on, man. Dak is going to be raining. He's going to be running all day.
Wow.
And I really think, what's the name is back though? Diggs is back on, the other side of the corner for Dallas. So that's going to be interesting. But I think Cleveland's defense is going to overpower the Cowboys' defense, I think. And the offensive mistakes by Dak, your new highest paid quarterback or whatever, and I think Dallas is going to lose this one. And I think Myles Garrett is going to – I'm going to make a bold prediction. Myles Garrett is going to have 2 sacks and a fumble recovery.
All right.
Maybe even interception too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can see. You probably can't see this.
Yeah,
you're straight. I mean, you got 2 sacks and a fumble and an interception. I mean, why don't you just get the fumble and let him run for a touchdown?
Okay, I'll do that.
I mean, do that.
Because Myles Garrett can do it. I'm telling you.
Mike, what were you trying to show us there, bud?
No, go ahead, Sal. I'll find it. I'm sure.
Okay. Now, Hef, you're my boy, Hef, but Jalen Daniels isn't getting the respect he deserves yet. He's got to play first. We don't know what he's going to do yet. Hef, I love you, brother, but we got to let the boy play first. The Browns take
I don't know about
that's
that.
reality,
Yeah.
man. Come on, man.
All right, so this is a tough one, but I never liked Cleveland. I just don't think that team can ever put it together. I don't trust Watson. Myles Garrett, okay, he's probably going to have a decent game. You're right, Dre. I agree. But I just don't know that's going to be enough over the Cowboys. And I think you said it really well, Dre, too. That cornerback coming back is going to be huge for them because last year they really missed that. So Diggs coming back. Yeah, so I agree. So I think it's going to be the Cowboys. It might not be by a lot, but I think it's going to be the Cowboys. And I hope it's not the Cowboys, but I have a funny feeling it might wind up being. All right.
Going to be reserved for.
Oh, that okay. All right. So he took over
position because through what they're doing, Brown, if he's going to be reserved for,
oh,
they're going to move him over.
All right. So he took over
position because through what they're doing, Brown, if he's going to be reserved for,
oh,
they're going to move him over.
All right. So he took over
position because through what they're doing, Brown, if he's going to be reserved for,
oh,
they're going to move him over.
All right. So he took over
position because for what they're doing, Brown, if he's going to be reserved for,
oh,
they're going to move him over.
All right. So he took over
position because what they're doing, Brown, if he's going to be reserved for,
oh,
they're going to move him over.
All right. So he took over
position because what they're doing, Brown, if he's going to be reserved for, they're going to move him over.
All right. So he took over
position because what they're doing, Brown, if he's going to be reserved for, they're going to move him over.
All right. So he took over
position because they're doing Brown, if he's going to be reserved for, they're going to move him over.
All right. So he took over
position because they're doing Brown, if he's going to be reserved for, they're going to move him over.
All right. So he took over
position because they're doing Brown, if he's going to be reserved for, they're going to move him over.
All right. So he took over
position because they're doing Brown, if he's going to be reserved for, they're going to move him over.
All right. So he took over
position because they're doing Brown, if he's going to be reserved for, they're going to move him over.
All right. So he took over
position because doing Brown, if he's going to be reserved for, they're going to move him over.
All right. So he took over
position because doing Brown, if he's going to be reserved for, they're going to move him over.
All right. So he took over
position because doing Brown, if he's going to be reserved for, they're going to move him over.
All right. So he took over
position because doing Brown, if he's going to be reserved for, they're going to move him over.
All right. So he took over
position because Brown, if he's going to be reserved for, they're going to move him over.
All right. So he took over
position because Brown, if he's going to be reserved for, they're going to move him over.
All right. So he took over
position because Brown, if he's going to be reserved for, they're going to move him over.
All right. So he took over
position because Brown, if he's going to be reserved for, they're going to move him over.
All right. So he took over
position because Brown, if he's going to be reserved for, they're going to move him over.
All right. So he took over
position because
he took over Hufanga when he got hurt. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
He
did a good job. He did a real good job.
Damn. Hef's calling you out, Mike. He's saying almost like San Fran cycle. Woo!
Oh my goodness.
Hef is calling you out, Mike.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
They haven't smelt the championship game in 20 years. So at least they're getting somewhere.
Wow.
That's 20 is more than 20, right? I think I was 8 years old when they last won.
I mean, jeez.
Jermaine, who you got on Monday night, brother?
I got San Fran. Yeah,
San Fran.
Because the only reason that they're home. Yeah, if it was in New York, I probably would have went with New York. You know what I mean? But San Fran's home. I think this is going to be for the whole season as a whole. Can Brock Purdy hold his own again, like he did, like he's been doing the last couple of years? I think this, is it going to be another, a breakout, a better season than he had last season? I don't know. And then with the running back, CMC, I mean, you can't overload him. What? He did have a tag on questionable today. I know he's going to play, but
he's got already beat up. Achilles injury.
Really?
Yeah, he's already banged up. But it's funny you say that, Joe, about Purdy, because I'm thinking about Sal's word progression, and I do Brock played well. I do want to see some things get even better. Like I
Yeah,
keep hearing, okay,
right.
you've had a full off season to study Shanahan's offense, and like what new wrinkles am I going to see now that he's actually had a chance to really, from the beginning go through it all.
Right.
So we'll see.
Right. Yeah.
All right. That's up to you, Dre.
Well, Aaron Rodgers is gonna say, I broke my back.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't
Oh,
see
man.
I don't see Jets winning this game against the 49ers. 49ers are home. All that offseason stuff and everything. I think the 49ers are going to put it together on the field. CMC is going to keep doing his thing. Ayuk, all those guys. And I think Brock Purdy is going to have a pretty good game, I think. I mean, Sauce Gardner, right? He's still in the Jets, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see how that matchup goes up with him. Debo might be the X factor. Oh, no. Kittle. I like to see more from Kittle. I didn't see really much from Kittle.
Yeah, that's a good one, Dre. Yeah, that's a good one. Kittle, boy.
And the Jets, man, are still, he tore his Achilles. He might tear it again. I don't know, man. It's just, I don't see the Jets beating the 49ers at home.
Well, I think the one thing, you guys are definitely on the right track, but I think the one thing we got to talk about, the Jets have a really good running back and what's going to be the Dre Greenlaw effect, because the run defense, Mike, for the 49ers has been a problem, right? So, and now you got Greenlaw out, and Breece Hall is no joke. So will the Jets be able to run the ball and control the clock? I think that's going to be a big question mark in that game. I do think that San Fran is going to take it. But if the Jets can control the ball, it's going to be interesting. If Breece Hall can do what he does, I think they might be able to pull it out and make it interesting. But it isn't San Fran. How much is that Dre Greenlaw effect going to really kind of affect this team?
Yeah, I forgot about Greenlaw being out. Wow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When did they say he's coming back? What? He's on the pup, right?
He's on pup, so he's at least 6 weeks, I think. I think that was 6 weeks instead of 8 weeks before he can come out. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So and then again, you're still on that kind of injury. You're still not 100%. It's still going to be slow coming out.
Got to be a year.
So it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
And to answer KD's, I'm going back to what he says. Like we act like, look, I was on Jets defense last year. You remember that, man? But they disappointed me last year.
Yeah,
and I don't see confidence this time against the 49ers because 49ers are really going to try to,
they're saying it for years with the Jets. You just kind of like show me,
show me, right?
Hearing it. Now it's like, all right, look, no excuses, right?
No
excuses, right?
All this, what's going on? So I hope the Jets beat them up.
A lot of comments coming in. Yeah, KD, we actually agreed for the first time, him and I. So yeah.
Well, let's put that up there.
Yeah, right. So
thank you, Sal. First time agreeing with Sal. It's a miracle.
Yeah, and Hef says I don't believe in the Jets or the Cowboys or the Ravens. They go, he's a hater. All right. He's still all right. You all act like the Jets don't have a good D. Yeah, but we'll see. The Jets do have a good D. They have the cornerbacks that could slow him down. Debo is going to be a factor, but I think it's going to be all that. It's going to be control of the clock. If San Francisco's defense can't stop the run and they keep that offense off the field, it's going to be interesting.
It's all about pressure. I know the Jets do have a good D, but they got to get pressure on Purdy. You know what I mean?
They do.
The third down, you got to get pressure. You got to rattle him.
I forgot which game it was, and it seemed okay. I actually liked him when he's on. I forgot which game it was, and it seemed okay. I actually liked him when he's on NFL. I forgot which game it was, and it seemed okay. I actually liked him when he's on NFL. I forgot which game it was, and it seemed okay. I actually liked him when he's on NFL. I forgot which game it was, and it seemed okay. I actually liked him when he's on NFL. I forgot which game it was, and it seemed okay. I actually liked him when he's on NFL. I forgot which game it was, and it seemed okay. I actually liked him when he's on NFL. I forgot which game it was, and it seemed okay. I actually liked him when he's on NFL. I forgot which game it was, and it seemed okay. I actually liked him when he's on NFL. I forgot which game it was, and it seemed okay. I actually liked him when he's on NFL. I forgot which game it was, and it seemed okay. I actually liked him when he's on NFL radio. I forgot which game it was, and it seemed okay. I actually liked him when he's on NFL radio. I forgot which game it was, and it seemed okay. I actually liked him when he's on NFL radio. I forgot which game it was, and it seemed okay. I actually liked him when he's on NFL radio. I forgot which game it was, and it seemed okay. I actually liked him when he's on NFL radio. Which game it was, and it seemed okay. I actually liked him when he's on NFL radio. Which game it was, and it seemed okay. I actually liked him when he's on NFL radio with his podcast and listening to it. His analyzing stuff and everything. I think it'd be pretty decent. I don't know if it's worth all the money he's getting paid, but it is Tom Brady. It's the GOAT. But we'll see. I hope it's not dry. You know what I mean? Kind of. But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, it's his first one, so obviously, he's getting paid a lot of money. And then your boy Bill Belichick supposedly is next, unless he finds a head coaching job somewhere next year. We'll see.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting with Brady to see if he's sort of like Romo, especially with analyze. Like, the guys when they get in the booth, they're always more critical of the position that they played themselves. So, I'm curious to see like Tom Brady if he's going to sit up there and maybe talk about Dak. Like, Dak, I've seen him do this play, blah, blah, blah. He's going to throw it here, or he's about to throw an interception there, or how critical he's going to be of the quarterbacks.
Real quick, did you guys like Tony Romo when he first came out as a commentator?
He was all right.
Because a quarterback,
I like
Tony Romo.
Oh yeah, when he first came out, but now it just seems like he's losing his luster. I mean, I don't, I don't really care. Look, these commentators and everything. I'm so used to Madden and what's his name, Summerall.
Yeah,
that was your best. That was your best. Yeah, that was your best duo right there. You're not going to get to that. Yeah, you're not going to get to that, especially Madden with his color, coordination, by play and all that stuff. I mean, he just broke it down, So, well, I'm not looking forward to it. I'm just looking to some good, clean games today. That's all.
The ones that cracked me up was Ripken. It was those three old guys. It was the quarterback and two other guys. They were funny, man, because once told him he was
man, Sunday night football. Those three hidden monsters, they was always arguing.
They were hilarious.
They were hilarious.
One time, you're talking about the wrong team.
Yeah.
What's the name?
What are you talking about? Man, what was that trio? Yeah, I mean,
the quarterback for Washington that got his leg broken.
Theismann. Theismann.
Bill Theismann and the other two old timers. They were hilarious, man.
Yeah,
they cracked me up.
Brain is fried, son.
Yeah, that was last week.
Yeah. I used to love Madden with the Thanksgiving turkey, man. That was the best. When he used to
turducken, the big turducken, right?
Yeah.
One quick thing before we go, because I was looking at interesting game to me. There's two of them. One, the Steelers is what's the name starting?
Is Wilson starting?
Fields.
I don't know. I think Fields might be the guy. It sound like it.
I don't know if he's
game time decision. They said
game time decision.
So
if Russell Wilson comes in, they are playing the Falcons at home. Do we think we're going to see a good Russell Wilson or the same one from Denver?
Same one, unless Howie decides to give up 3 draft picks for him, like Jermaine wanted.
All right.
I think you'll see the same Russell, but I think you'll see the second year Russell, not the first year Russell. Like the second year Russell was definitely better than the first year Russell in Denver. So, look, Pittsburgh's the offense last year was like 18th century. I mean, with Kenny Pickett and the play calling they had, it was terrible. So anything right now is an improvement. The big problem for them is it's going to be, can they survive turnovers? Because that's the one thing they can't. They don't have an offense that can keep up with somebody. So if they get down early, they're not coming back.
And the last one, if I turn it back to Sal, Chargers. Harbaugh, he's back in the NFL. I ask you first, Mike, because he coached your San Francisco team. What about Harbaugh playing against the Raiders?
I told Kai, I said, man, I'm sorry. I think y'all going to lose to the Raiders. He said, I'm crazy.
Wow.
And I think Harbaugh is just not going to have – it's not him. I think it's just the team. I just think that, talent-wise, they had no receivers other than Ladd McConkey, who we don't know about because he's a rookie. He's just predicted to do very well. But, it's a new offense. It's Greg Roman's offense. Greg Roman's not necessarily a big passing attack.
Establish, what your identity is. And you got to have a system and put the establish, what your identity is. And you got to have a system and put the establish, what your identity is. And you got to have a system and put the establish, what your identity is. And you got to have a system and put the establish, what your identity is. And you got to have a system and put the establish, what your identity is. And you got to have a system and put the establish, what your identity is. And you got to have a system and put the establish, what your identity is. And you got to have a system and put the establish, what your identity is. And you got to have a system and put the establish, what your identity is. And that's going to take, you got to have a system and put the establish, what your identity is. And that's going to take, you got to have a system and put the establish, what your identity is. And that's going to take, you got to have a system and put the establish, what your identity is. And that's going to take some, you got to have a system and put the establish, what your identity is. And that's going to take some, you got to have a system and put the establish, what your identity is. And that's going to take some time. You got to have a system and put the establish, what your identity is. And that's going to take some time for them. But Hef, we appreciate it, man. Great show as always. He says best sports show. And he also says Rome was lame on the field and in the booth. That was funny. What do you got there, Dre? You got some fantasy football coming?
Yeah, so we decided this year to do fantasy football with this season, and we did it with these awesome guys from ADU as well, KD and Hef. And we did a little league, like you said at the beginning of the show. So here we go, just showing you the predictions right now, where I'm the $100 million quarterback rushers versus iBoogers, which is KD. And it's going to be a pretty close game. And then we got Jermaine's matchless team against the blind cats picking bot team, which is Mike. So right now, Mike's got look like they're going to favor him to win. So we'll see. And then Spinal, I broke your back style versus give it to my man Ace Boogie. So which is KD. So this is going to be interesting, guy. Every Sunday we're going to put this up and show and brag about it. So it's a good start.
None of my guys have even played yet. They all play today or tomorrow night. So hopefully it'll be up to a good start.
Saquon's making my team look good.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Touchdowns goes a long way.
Well, I shouldn't say that. One of my guys played. He was on the bench. So we all know who that was. Although it'll be interesting to see how long Jordan Love is out. They're saying 6 weeks, maybe.
I heard 3 to 4.
4 to 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He lucked out because I was looking at it and the way Jalen's going. Did you see that? I said he's done.
Yep.
Thank God he dodged the bullet. He dodged the bullet. I was like,
he
wow,
did.
He dodged the bullet.
Yeah.
And remember, guys, I got Green Bay going all the way.
Yeah, I thought about that.
I said, no, Jordan, what are you doing? No, Jordan.
Yeah. The thing is, Malik Willis is just, I saw that last play and he got sacked on the last play of the game. I said, what are you doing, man? Throw the ball somewhere. That was just terrible.
You're right.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do. Well, Love is out,
in that game. That low hit on the going out of bounds, that was pretty bad too. So,
17 penalties in that game.
Whew. Well, somebody said in the chat that we had, Tannehill is still available?
Yeah, he is.
Right.
I said that. You got Trevor Siemian, Tannehill, the usual guys that you always see come in. Nate Sudfeld.
Man. Yeah, Nick Foles is available. No, okay.
Colin Kaepernick is
God. Oh,
yeah.
God.
I said Cam Newton to my wife. My wife's like, he's up there smoking cigars and drinking. He's not coming back.
Man. All right, everybody, as always, thank you always for checking out our show. We are on every Sunday morning at 11 o'clock. Again, it's Enough Said Crew. If you'd like us, check us out on all the major social media networks, whether it is YouTube, X, Instagram, all those fun ones. Or you can email us at enoughsaidcrew, as Dre put up, at gmail.com. We appreciate, check out, if you have time, every first and third Sunday, 9 o'clock at night, All Dressed Up podcast. Great guys, great show. Really have some good stuff going on.
Yeah, I think they're going to be on tonight.
Yes.
For the first,
awesome.
Yeah, they
Check
should
them
be
out,
on
man.
tonight.
ADU on tonight.
Yep. So thank you, everybody. We will see you next week, same time. And we'll be talking some more Eagles and, of course, all the teams.